Okay, so what I've done here is I have added a bunch of graphite powder into the sky to get a nice tonation value across the surface. I also took the 2H pencil and I used horizontal lines because the water really has a lot of horizontal qualities to it. And then I blended that tone with the paper towel. So what I'm going to do next is take the eraser and kind of clean up a few things, and then I'm going to start working on um, kind of like the background a little bit, erasing some things out, adding some tones in, darkening some of the sky, kind of working around it. So I have the background pretty well set. I'll have a chance to go back into it. Um, but I want to kind of work on those things and show you the process for that, and then come back to some of the other details. Okay, so what I've done here is I have used the stone and some of those texture tools, and I've pressed down really hard with the layout pencil to get a lot of these shadows in. And then I used the H pencil, the 2H pencil for the stone because I was able to get more pressed down harder and get more details to come out. And so far, I think it's looking pretty good. What I'm going to do is work into this a whole lot more and get more of the details to come out. Eventually I'm going to go, oh, also in working in the water, I was adding, erasing kind of back and forth to get some of those details in. And you can see now we're starting to get a little bit more light and shadow shimmering here. I'm going to go back and work on this a whole lot more, but that's kind of the basics of the starting point of this. Um, what I'll talk about now is just kind of like, what I would do next is I'm going to go into some of the details a bit further. Also, because I am have a lot of tone on the paper, I'm going to be dragging it all over on my hand pretty soon. So I'm just going to put this piece of paper down. And then what I want to do is kind of look closely at the drawing, at the collage rather, and just start to look at where I can add some of these more details. So side of the pencil, kind of looking at where I can get some of the textures and tones to come in, trying to get the light and shadow to work out, the linear qualities, kind of balancing in here. A lot of nice sort of striations and details that you can work back and forth and start to really get to come out. So through this, I've used the rubbing as a way to generate some texture on the surface of the page. I've tried to approximate, where most things are, and just letting the looseness of this process take its toll. And then I'm going back and starting to make this look more like striated rock by adding some line quality to it. So erasing, adding in lines, kind of working back and forth, you can get a really nice, textural quality to come through in this. Okay, so I'm going to go in now and start to work on this caribou here. And I'm going to choose some different tools for this. Basically, what I want to do is have a more linear approach. And so in this case, what I'll do is just work with my HB pencil, all right? And I'm going to do a lot of line work here. So that way I get a bit more of the fur and hairy kind of look of the caribou. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into some of the shadows and then work with a bunch of line work. So you see what I'm starting here. I'm using a lot of lines now in combination, and I'm thinking about cross contour lines, lines that go around the form to make it look like it's more dimensional. Now we don't see a tremendous amount of lines in the fur here, but even having these, what I can do is start to blend them a little bit, and having the lines there will add more contour, more detail. Even if they're smushed and softened together, we get a lot of really wonderful combinations of marks, and also the direction, the multidisciplinary direction of the fur coming across. So I'm just going to kind of blend through here a little bit, and particularly in the the white area where it starts to lighten up here, I can take the kneaded eraser, excuse me, allergy season, and erase out, right? So, and same sort of thing, thinking about marks that I'm erasing out to get more of that quality of the fur. Okay. All right, folks, I've gotten a little bit further with my drawing. My caribou is coming along pretty well. I've gone back and forth with a lot of line work using mechanical pencils and my wood pencils, doing a lot of line work, going back, blending areas, and then going back on top of that and darkening shadow areas in here. You notice my caribou is hovering above the rock here. In my collage, you'll see that, the feet are buried in this brush as it's walking through. I've, of course, edited out the background and included in just this background for it. So what I'm going to do is just take some creative liberties here and start to add in, something that maybe resembles a little bit of brush. So I'm just going to start with my 2B pencil and just kind of make some striations, some lines, some grass-like forms, maybe a rock or something like that, and just add some material in here so it looks like the caribou is actually walking on something or in something. So again, take some creative liberties once you've followed the composition through the collage you've made. Feel free to take some creative liberties and make it your own. I'm going to start just simply by adding in some line work, and then kind of build this up as I go. So I'll bring in just some dark lines like this to begin, kind of rough using the side of my pencil. I'll also take the kneaded eraser and just erase some kind of highlight lines in here. Again, it's always good to do a combination of positive and negative lines, particularly with organic materials, because if it looks too mechanical, then it won't look realistic. So you have to go with the haphazardness of erasure and also the balance of light and dark to really make things look effective oftentimes. So I'm going to go in now with some finer line, my mechanical pencil, and just give some real kind of specific sort of marks. Don't need to draw every single blade of grass here, but enough to give it some detailed information while also making it look believable enough that this deer could be stepping on a mound of sorts with some fauna growing out of it, flora rather. So back and forth, positive and negative marks. I'll kind of work with this a little bit more and see where I'm at. All right, so I've gotten pretty far along with this drawing. I'm going to zoom out and see where I'm at here. To finish this up, what I would do is continue working on the bottom of the rocks, obviously, some of the stones in the front. As it reflected in this drawing, you can see that I've got some stones, some darker stones in here. I'll probably go back and darken the sailboat a little bit, add some more waves, but for the most part, I've got a fairly good start. I would say that I'm, 80% done with this drawing. I'll work into some more details, balance the tones a little bit more, really finish this up. So hopefully this gives you an idea as to how to build up your composition, reference your photo collage, add in some things of your own perhaps, and come up with a really solid graphite drawing that uses a balance of tone, texture, line work, and balances out the way that you make marks. Let's just focus in a little bit so you can see this closer before we wrap up. There we go. All right, and there you have it. So let me know if you have questions. I'm happy to answer anything online, and I'll keep working on this and post a final image when I get finished. Again, what I'm looking for is really solid collage, accurate way of transferring it from the image form to the sheet of paper, and really trying to get a wide range of value, good amount of detail, and a balance of line work and texture and tonality. That's all for now. I'll see you later.